Hello, my name is Michael Conneely and this is the part 6 video for the June 2019 Astrology and Healing newsletter. And this part 6 focuses on Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Sun, Chiron, the new moon and the full moon of June 2019. So part 1 was, I think, very worthwhile advice on how to handle the difficult energies of June 2019 and capitalise on about 3 very positive energies that could easily get submerged. Part 7 is a really good calendar summary of the energies, which is absolutely worth printing off and pinning up so you can see what we're negotiating. And part 8 is a collection of the astrology charts for each of the major events of June 2019 in both Western and Vedic astrology. So refer to that as you're listening to the June astrology material. Okay, let's start with Jupiter. Well, Jupiter is retrograde, and Jupiter retrograde period actually runs from the 10th of April 2019 to the 11th of August. And when Jupiter turned retrograde, he was at 1 Vedic Sagittarius in the Gandanta zone. So the Gandanta zones are the very immaterial zones which are in the transition points from water signs to fire signs in Vedic astrology. There are 3 of them: Cancer, Leo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Pisces, Aries. And planets are rendered insubstantial in the Gandanta zone. They don't do well in the worldly sense. And yet there is the option and possibility that that grave weakness and problem can actually motivate the person to great spiritual inspiration and awareness, because in fact they see that this world isn't supportive, that the true world is beyond Mahamaya, this world, and indeed it's, say, the God realm that creates this world, that emanates and then destroys world after world, using models, for example, like Lord Vishnu. And so when Jupiter was in the Gandanta, there was difficulty in getting hold of normal Jupiterian positiveness and abundance and sense of purpose and blessing. But the possibility of great inspiration, if you're open to it. And the whole point is, I did a blog about this earlier this year, Jupiter will not be experienced easily by us humans until Jupiter leaves Vedic Capricorn in a couple of years' time. Because, you know, Jupiter's in the Gandanta between Scorpio and Sagittarius at the moment. He then goes through Sagittarius, which of course has the Saturn-Ketu-Pluto conjunction and what remains after that. And he then goes through Vedic Capricorn, which is his sign of debilitation. So basically, in the blog attached to this video, you can email me to order a Jupiter vision journey, and I've done some of these, particularly for people who have Jupiter weak in their birth charts. And for example, you can pin up a chosen picture of Jupiter, of the divine Jupiter, Brihaspati, on the wall in a place that's convenient to you, and burn a candle in front of it, and use the journey to develop ideational connection to sense of purpose and strategy and receiving blessings, you know, understanding it all. So get in touch with me if you want that. So the next planet that this part 6 deals with is Uranus. So Uranus is at 10 Aries in Ashwini Nakshatra, the healer's nakshatra. And so that means there's a big effect on Ashwinis and there's a big effect on Libra opposite. And so like on a personal note, I feel I've had a really big revolution in communication because in fact Uranus is transiting and has been transiting opposite my natal Mercury. So, you need to look at the houses Uranus is in and the houses it's aspecting, and any planets that Uranus is transiting by conjunction or opposition or whatever. And indeed, Uranus is coming up to conjunct my natal Rahu. And Rahu, the north node of the moon in our birth chart, is the direction of our incarnational life purpose this time. We come in where Ketu is, the camp of the occupying army, and we're thrown across the chart in the direction of the qualities of Rahu. But because Rahu is driven and demonic actually, and potentially has associations of darkness, we have to purify Rahu or we never arrive at our incarnational destination this time. And so the energy of Uranus is obviously revolution. He was discovered at the time of revolutions politically. And indeed, it's in my 10th house. And so, I've been very much adding bits to my career, loads of vision journeys, for example, to meet the divine natures of the planets, and very much assisted by a colleague there. I draw on the magnificence of Vedic astrology in this regard, but also some facets of Western evolutionary astrology. And I've also been developing with another colleague visionary journeys to meet the gods and goddesses of the ancient Irish and the ancient Norse. And basically, in the highest way, in other words, to actually make contact with the way those gods and goddesses are faces of the ultimate divine. That was their power for so many hundreds and thousands of years. And we can still gain an immensity from contacting them. It's just that they got overlaid by the Christian churches and trivialized and demonized and marginalized. I mean, for example, with colleagues locally here in the Western Island, at the end of August, there's a magnificent weekend event to meet great goddess Danu, and we've been doing preparatory work. Danu is the mother of the Tuatha Dé Danann, the Iron Age Irish, and indeed they originated from what's now Turkey and the Balkans, and great goddess Danu spread widely through the Mediterranean area and Europe. But what was so amazing was when you go into it deeply to see the immense vitality and power of the divine energy of mothering, the mother who sends her children forth, who wills them to do well. And so in fact this weekend at the end of August, which is held nearby here in the west of Ireland, does a vision journey to contact great goddess Danu, does work to clear blocks to receiving, does family constellation work, healing dance, sound healing, and art therapy. Do have a look. I'll put a link in the blog in this part, what are we on, the part 6 blog, to my blog for that event. Okay, I think I've given you the drift of it. Let's go to Neptune. Have a look at the charts in part 8, because they clearly show that Neptune is T-square, the Jupiter-Venus opposition, and most importantly that Neptune is sextile the Saturn-Ketu-Pluto conjunction and trine the Mars-Rahu conjunction. And so the whole point is, we need to hear and know that we can seek to bring in intuition to that battlefield of the nodal axis. Intuition as to become spiritual warriors, successful in and on that battlefield. And basically at the same time that Ketu is tearing down false Saturn blocks in our life, we need to be open to Neptune's intuition and illuminations. And then Saturn can help us ground those, by strategizing and giving them form. So, do have a look at the chart, which clearly, the charts for June 2019 clearly show this aspect structure. Okay, the next point is about the Sun. Huge point that I made in part 1. The Sun is in Vedic Taurus at first. Make space for beauty, pleasure, value and contentment. And as I said, you can burn a candle in front of an image of great goddess Lakshmi. And from the 4th of June, Venus too enters Taurus. And so we are blessed that in the middle of the battlefield we have this Venusian, Taurian beauty, enjoyment, which we can manifest, which we can protect. We can put a palisade around it so that the battlefield can't destroy it and marginalise it. That's your choice. Make it your strategy. And it is important because after the 15th of June, difficultly for us, the Sun enters Vedic Gemini and gets caught up in the angry, aggressive, argumentative, conflictful energy of the current Mars-Rahu conjunction. So make the most of it. Is there anything else? Oh yes, and so the whole point is the Sun is, the divine, the God, the divine Sun is the king of our kingdom. And as I said in the part 1 introduction, be the king of your kingdom, go forth and direct, create strategies, because otherwise the battlefield and the mind ruination that I've been describing in parts, 2 to 5 so far, could shatter your strategies and you'll end up with nothing, with a World War I type mud mess. You don't want that. And so be the divine Sun. Your mind will recognise that all the mind games and the foul communications might be going on. You're pre-warned. Keep to the strategies. And the other point I mentioned is Chiron. So Chiron is at 11 and 12 Vedic Pisces in June, or 5 and 6 degrees Western Aries. So do check out how Chiron is interacting with your natal chart. Chiron is immensely powerful. Chiron is so necessary to understand and work with. So Chiron is the wounded healer. And we incarnate to identify and heal our existential wound. And then when we do that, we can start to heal others. And Chiron, in fact, orbits in the heavens between the orbits of Saturn and Uranus. Our blocks, our blinding, imprisoning blocks of Saturn, and the lightning bolts of inspiration and revolution from Uranus. Chiron has to bridge that. I have Chiron transiting square my natal Uranus and trine my natal Mars now. So it's very wired energy, and it can be irritable, but obviously not in my case. Okay. And the last thing is the lunations. So I give the details of the new moon on June the 3rd and the full moon on June the 17th, and the charts in both Western and Vedic astrology for the new moon and the full moon are in the part 8 blog. Okay, hope this was of use, and get in touch with me for a reading or to enroll on one of my wonderful astrology courses and indeed many other courses that I offer. Okay, thank you.